My name's Joseph McDonough. I'm 23 years old, but I'm currently living on the Gold Coast, Australia. I grew up in a country town in New South Wales on a small property with my family, my two parents and my two sisters, until about age 8. My parents got divorced then, and my two sisters moved into town, and I stayed living out of town with my dad. When I was 12, I went to boarding school at St Joseph's College in Sydney. That was my probably real introduction into sports. I always had a passion when I was younger, generally played soccer when I was little, but I was introduced to rugby there. It's definitely one of my biggest passions right now. I absolutely love rugby, and my other really big sporting passion is rowing. I had the opportunity to go overseas a couple of times in my life. I've been to Brazil and I got to live there for 1 year and learn Portuguese, which was incredible. I learned to have an incredible appreciation for both the first and third world countries. Third world countries I felt sorry for, I suppose, more than anything else. Still to this day, I really want to help those people and do whatever I can to improve them, better their lives. But I had a much greater appreciation for what I have here. This is winter, like, come on, this is pretty awesome. After Brazil, I stayed based in Australia mainly for a few years. Living in Orange with my father, but working away a lot of the time in the mines, and I had a few bar jobs. Never really found anything that was 100% for me, so when all that fell through, I decided to move to China. And I studied Chinese for a year, 6 months in Shanghai and 6 months in a city called Chengdu. I stayed in Chengdu for another 12 months. And I started 2 businesses while I was there. A gym business, which then led me to my health food delivery business. I was busting my ass probably 12 to 14, sometimes 16 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week. It was going really well, but I was working myself into the ground, and as a result of basically making everyone else healthy, I was leading myself to be incredibly unhealthy, and I was never cooking for myself because at the end of the day, that was the last thing I bloody wanted to do. After cooking for however many people throughout the day, my health declined rapidly as a result. From being incredibly happy when I first moved there, and through the decisions that I'd made myself incredibly miserable. I wasn't healthy, I wasn't strong, so I got to the point where I had to do something. Everything was imploding in my life, so I decided to move back to Australia. It has been the best move for me. I'm so happy. I don't want people to think but I've been born with this massive silver spoon in my mouth. My life hasn't been hugely easy. My family was middle income at best. My father nearly went bankrupt trying to send me to school where I was going. My parents going through their divorce was one of the harder things for me in my life. Talking about not having any money, can't do this, can't do that. My mum telling me how much she hated my dad and how bad he was, and then my dad telling me how poisoned my mum was, that she was pretending, that everything she was doing was fake. Everything was really, really negative, and it was very, very tough growing up and going through that. And I made some poor decisions at a young age. At that time, I was hanging out with a lot of mates at the time. They're good guys, just doing stupid things. A lot of them went to juvie. I didn't, thankfully, but I was very, very close. The hardest thing that I've ever been through in my life and that I'm continuing to go through has been watching my mother have dementia. Watching her degrade as she did and not being able to do anything about it. She doesn't know who we are, like her kids anymore, and she can't hold a conversation or anything that you want your mum to be able to do, and it's been pretty tough. I think when I was about 10 or 11, she would have had the disease, or that's what's estimated, but we didn't find out she had the disease till I was about 18. I remember saying vividly to my mum and to myself that I hated her and I didn't want anything to do with her, and why couldn't she remember to come to my sporting events? Why couldn't she remember these things in our life? And we all thought that she was just acting. She was sick, so that was a bit shit, and it was a really, really difficult thing to watch and try to accept. Dealing with it slowly, and it's been a tough thing, but we work at that every day, and there's no point just burying my head in the sand. From that has come my appreciation for health and nutrition, and I understand that the disease is 100% preventable. It's not a necessary thing to be in our lives if you're eating the right foods, and that's why I'm very, very passionate about food as well as sport and nutrition. But as a further extension of that, having a good lifestyle and living something you love. And living here, which is just completely my zone. This is my life. Every day I can come here if I want. I don't come every day, but most days. And I do work here. I'm really, really grateful and thankful for the lifestyle I have now. This is my rugby ground. This is my home team. We just run the premiership. This has just been this incredible turnaround in my life in about 4 or 5 months, and I've worked my ass off to make sure it happened, but I gave myself the opportunities to, and I'm very, very thankful for that.